coming to us from the
Yay!
darkness as exactly what this band I would expect from everybody.
Very authentic.
Yes, exactly. Everybody, please welcome Ivo and Marc from Knighted. Ivo is on the bottom left, Marc is on the bottom right. Thank you guys for taking the time out to chat with us about this album. How y'all doing today?
Great, thanks.
So let's just get the easy question out of the way. Your debut album came out this past Friday. I know it has been in the works for some time. How are you feeling about it now that it is out? Congratulations on the release, by the way.
Thank you very much. It's really weird because I went on tour last Thursday with my other band, and I kind of missed the album release, to be honest, because I was so busy here on tour. It was a very rough start. Like, we had such long drives and no sleep at all, and just a lot of problems in the beginning. Like the next day, I was like, "Holy shit! I missed the album premiere." But I'm so far I'm really happy. So far I'm happy. That's my story. What about you, Marc?
Yeah, no, I'm happy too. Finally, it's out. It's really weird after such a long time to put it out and have people react to it. So but glad it's finally out.
Yeah, so let's talk about the music real quick, because my first introduction to the band was the single that we just heard. I thought it was just from, the ethos of the band and what y'all said that you were about. I thought it was just a perfect blending of the sound that y'all were going for. This was, you guys got together during the pandemic to start writing this music. I'm curious on, where the idea to merge these two styles came from, and how do you think, why do you think that these sounds work so well?
Well, I can start maybe. Well, I think we started with a slightly different idea at first to begin with what we want to do, and at some point I think we had one song that blended these two styles. So the very electronics part, and then the more, let's say, black metal music or style of it, and we thought it works quite well, and then we figured out, well, it doesn't exist already yet in other bands or in other styles, and so we thought it's quite interesting. And then I think from there we developed it more and more, and we tried to also apply it on other songs that we already had. So it slowly began to came alive.
Ivo, what your thoughts?
It was quite a process, and I honestly don't really know why those two styles blend together that well. But somehow I think the electronic music can have a certain coldness to it, and I think that kind of suits to the black metal vibe. So I think somehow it just matches. I don't know. It's dark. It's evil. It's
inhuman. It's like the
inhuman.
two different sides of
Exactly,
the inhuman coin. You've got the sinister, otherworldly black metal with the inhuman nature of technology and the electronics. It's like the two non-human sides of things, the supernatural side of the black metal creepy, and then the horrifying aspect of technology. Sorry to interrupt, but that just I absolutely adore this project because it's just inhuman the way that it comes together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think
thank you very much,
Cori, to your point as well. I mean, even going back in history, 20, 30 years, right? Synth parts in black metal, I don't think are anything new, right? Plenty of bands in the late 80s or in the late 90s were using kind of these keys to kind of really give the feel for this music, and then of course with Cradle of Filth and Dimmu Borgir adding a lot more in that. But just so that already existed, but I don't think it has existed in this way exactly, right? Because there is a lot of of crossover between bands like, Perturbator or Ghost, or, these different synth wave bands that add metal into it. But I don't think it's done this dark and this demented over here, which gets me into the lyrical content of the band, because the vocals, Ivo, are very, very clear, despite the, the necroness in them. So you can hear the stories and the lyrics is what you're saying, which really helps the listener, in my opinion, delve into this soundscape, this universe, this world that you guys are weaving. And I've picked out things here and there as found as like, lyrical subject about like the vastness of our universe and expanding of our minds and stuff like that. Kind of like, can you share with us your thought process, and you as well, Marc, in kind of creating these stories and these lyrics to go along with this music so well?
At first, I didn't have like a lyrical concept. And by the way, Marc wrote half of the lyrics. So we kind of share that process.
Mm-hmm.
And this was also something that developed during the songwriting process. I think for me, I never write music with a specific concept behind it, because for me the music comes first, and the music is like my first language, right? It's like the first thing that comes out, because I don't have any words for it, right? So I kind of add the words later, but and during this process, I kind of create a story or a topic or a song that just fits, that's in my head, that just comes out. Yeah, then there's never like it's not like I sit down and say to myself, oh, I want to write about this, right? It's just spontaneous in a way. And it kind of also, I think, of course, we have like certain topics in songs. We talk about things about the universe, but also about the inner universe, which is also huge. But at the end of the day, I always listen to music. I really liked listening to music and making my own story out of it, right? And this is kind of the thing I want to do as well. Of course, there are certain things, certain messages in there, but we also want to keep it open enough for interpretation, so everyone can kind of develop their own story, their own universe, because this is also what I love about music the most, to make my own story out of it.
Yeah, I think art is always best when the artist has their own interpretation, and then the listener uses it to whatever fits, their life, their experiences as well. Marc, is there anything that you wanted to add with that?
Yeah, I think I can add to that. For me, it was pretty much the same as Ivo described. First is always the music and the song, and I think, at least for my half of the song, so to speak, I also try to have the song first, and then the mood it transports, and the overall mood it creates. And I think, as you said, that coldness that it probably has to it. Then I went into it and looked, okay, what topics do fit with the music, what words do maybe come to mind, or to my mind, when I listen to the song, and out of sometimes just certain words, try to develop then a story or an idea, and keep it open, so that the listener can develop his own or interpret his own ideas into it. So it was a process, but as you said, the music is always first, I think, before I have a fixed story in mind. It's always derived from the music, so to say.
Yeah, and I think that makes a lot of sense listening to the music. Cori, please jump in here.
Well, just speaking of the music, I am very curious because this is so vastly different from your other projects. Curious where the influences are coming from and what drew you to these particular sounds, because again, vastly different from other things that we've heard from you.
Ivo, you want to go ahead first?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of grew up. Well, black metal was one of the first metal types I really got into. Well, actually, I've started with more Slipknot and that kind of stuff. But then I quickly came into black metal, and this is just something that's with me all the time since the years. Yeah, during, I don't know, 25 years or so. I always come back to black metal, even if I sometimes make breaks. Like, yeah, I wrote totally different music for a lot of time, for a long time, but somehow, yeah, I just came back to black metal. I always come back to black metal, so I think this is one of the main, yeah, kind of the core for me. I mean, for Marc it's maybe different because he's the one doing the electronics.
Yeah, I mean, I think I had to sneak in my way into playing black metal because usually it's not a traditional instrument that I'm playing here. No, but I actually remember one of the very first times we played together, Ivo, when we talked about, oh, we should maybe at some point do music together, and we said, well, it would be around black metal something, and I guess we did the black metal and the something somehow. Yeah, in the sense of that we I think it combines also what I listen to privately, like stuff you mentioned, Dimo Borg here, and then maybe some Cradle, but also, other stuff. And then just trying to mix it with the things that I, that I'm able to play, that I can play, and that I can bring to the table, because it's not very traditional to have these synths and organ and stuff in that music. So
I love that description, black metal and something.
exactly.
I love that.
It will be the sticker on our vinyl, I guess. Black metal and something.
And when is that? When will that be available? I'm just asking for a friend. No.
Yeah. We don't actually know because, yeah, it just takes a lot of time.
It does.
To press vinyl at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I will be buying mine as soon as it becomes available, though.
So probably next year.
I can wait. I won't kill me. It might, but it shouldn't.
Right.
That actually, if you don't mind, Cori, that leads to a question that I have that piggybacks off this just perfectly. No. So black metal and something, right, is the tagline for this. And certainly that is clear in the album, right? Because when you listen to this album, it's not just, oh, here are two, genres of music mashed together, here you go. It is, the album itself is very diverse. Each of the songs stands on its own, has different feels to it, has different sounds to it. I'm curious in the writing process how y'all found the right balance before you to see oh, these songs stand on their own rather than just being, well, we have 5 songs that sound kind of the same. How did you find that balance to make these songs stand on their own?
That's a good question. I think it's kind of intuitive in a way. I mean, we also talk a lot. Like when we write a song, then we probably wait for a week, or we just kind of develop it, work on it, and when it's done, we sometimes sit down and talk. What would be cool to do next? What would be nice? What do you want to do? What do you want to do? What do I want to do? And yeah, it's not like we sit down and then just write songs within a week, right? There's always a certain gap in between, and for me, it kind of never happens that I write exactly the same song after another, because I always have in mind I need to do something else. I don't know why. It's just in me, and yeah, I think we didn't have that many songs that we scrapped. Mark, do you remember?
No, I don't think so. I think
It's
we
like two songs, 3 songs.
maybe 3-ish, let's say.
Mm.
Yeah. But I think, as you said, I think we've never met to actually write music together, but always to talk together and then talk about, okay, what would be cool next? What could we do? What is the mood that we want to create with a song or with a riff that you maybe initiated? Then it was a back and forth. You maybe wrote the riff, send it over. I try to pick it up and do something else. Sometimes I would cut it and do something different with it, send it back to you, and then you did something. That was an iterative process.
I think it's really insightful too. Just the fact is, obviously, you know, we have a lot of bands that are working separately in the pandemic and sending stuff back and forth and everything like that. We interviewed one band, I think it was last week, that oh no, I did a separate interview with a band that did everything without ever meeting their singer until like it was time for shows and stuff like that, right? But I think it's interesting to say that when you all meet up, it was more to talk about where the songs were going rather than to actually, you know, write and figure everything that out, because then that shows the storylines in the songs. It shows the care and the detail and the creativeness that you're speaking about these things and really thinking about where the paths are going to go, rather than just like, okay, now we need this bit here and this riff here and that goes there and then boom. I think that's really insightful.
Yeah, and I think for me it's also interesting. I like diverse albums myself. When I listen to albums, I love if there's 8 totally different songs on it. Well, not totally different, but you know what I mean. Like,
Yeah, of course.
just different vibes, different stories. That's always the thing I'm most interested in, and so I think naturally I just do it myself as well, like that.
Yeah, and that definitely comes across in the album listen, in my opinion. Cori, please.
You actually stole my last question. So that was
Yes.
really, really rude. So I'm
Sorry.
going to steal one of your questions.
Please do.
Now that the album is out there in the world and people are experiencing it, what is something, or what is the biggest thing that you hope people take away from this album being your debut?
Ooh,
It's a hard one.
I have something I already said. I really wish that they kind of create their own stories. They create their own stories. They hear some words I'm singing, some melodies, something. They just connect it to something with their lives, with their emotions, with their universe. And yeah, I think that would be the best thing, if it just touches the people in a way, moves them. Yeah. Because that's what I love about music. So what about you, Mark?
yeah, maybe I would add to that that it maybe also connects people who are not traditionally black metal fans or listeners, but maybe more on the electronic side or more on the synth side, or I don't know, so that they also can find something in this kind of music and maybe not fully understand it, but at least, you know, grasp a little bit what you're trying to do here, and at least appreciate this style.
Excellent. And I personally hope that it shows up in a movie soundtrack somewhere. Speaking
Right.
of creating your own
I hope so, too.
stories, it's one of the more inspiring albums. Like you can just see where this would fit in certain scenes in your head, and I like that about it.
It's interesting you mentioned that, Cori, because I haven't asked it or anything like that, but this album is very cinematic, right? There's so many different things that you can do with it. In fact, I watched Alien with my girlfriend last night, and I was like, some of the songs on here, the very first song, Eons, I feel like could be part of that universe, just the way that the sounds are and how it just kind of, the lyrics kind of feel to me like they're talking about the vastness of outer space and everything like
Absolutely,
that.
yeah.
So yeah, you're 100% on the money with that, Cori. And Ivo, that is me putting my own story into the song and everything like that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Perfect. I love that.
Exactly.
Love that.
See, Hollywood needs to hire me as a music supervisor. I could make movies absolutely awesome. Like
true.
soundtrack. We'll bring back soundtracks again when they're awesome. Yes.
It's true. Cori, did you want to go ahead and ask the important question?
Yes. The super important final last question that is the most important question of any interview ever.
All right.
What is your favorite dinosaur?
Pensive looks on your face.
Oh,
It's a hard one, right? You got to choose
Google
wisely.
something. Come on, Ivo, go ahead.
Yeah, I would have said like how to, I don't know how to pronounce it in English. Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Tyrannosaurus Rex?
Yeah,
Yes.
but I kind of also find him a bit dorky with the small hands. I don't know.
Don't
he's
shame the
definitely-
T-Rex. It's doing the
Right,
best that it can
right.
with its
I
body.
think that's why he was so aggressive. He got
Yeah,
bullied.
he
Yeah,
had
mad that
tiny
he
arm
couldn't-
syndrome.
Couldn't work a rotary phone.
Exactly. Yeah. He couldn't touch
Anything, really.
Anything.
Yeah, I go with him. Yeah.
Fuck yeah. What about you, Mark?
I think when you said dinosaur, I immediately had the Jurassic Park in mind with Velociraptors, and what was it? The first Jurassic Park from the kind of Jurassic reboot or whatever they did with the Velociraptors.
Mhm.
Whatever, one of those scenes, and I think I immediately had that in mind. When you talk about movies, maybe that would be a nice fit as well, our music for a Jurassic Park movie.
Sure.
Jurassic Park
Ooh.
in space.
So
Jurassic
that would be
Park
basically
in
just
Hey,
Turok.
hell yes.
Yeah,
Hell yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. but only with Tyrannosaurus Rex with long arms, maybe.
Yes, a
Oh,
genetically.
all right.
So isn't that like the
All right.
Allosaurus though? Don't they have longer arms? I think it is. I
Do
think
they
there
have-
is one that is like that.
I think so. That's the one. Yeah.
Must
Amazing
Yeah,
stuff.
the Allosaurus actually has long arms. For
Just
those
like
of you
beefy.
curious,
It does lift.
It does lift. It does lift.
Fuck yeah. Well, there you go. I learned something new today. Now I'm just imagining a Tyrannosaurus with the SpongeBob inflatable muscle arms. Like that's what I'm thinking
Yes.
right now. Amazing stuff. Well, we will put a pin in this conversation until the Jurassic Park in Space movie comes out, and then we will be talking about dinosaurs in space all over again. But for now, everybody, Absence by Nighted is out right now. It is very much worth your time. 8 tracks, 45-ish minutes of just a mind-bending journey that'll take you on places that you never thought that you wanted to go before. Ivo, Mark, thank you so much for hanging out with us today, talking about the album and giving us some insight into your world. Congratulations on the release, my friends.